it's Anya here and I'm back with another video for Ophelia Talks. And today we are making a statement piece. Now I wanted to make a really special poncho. So this is like a cowl, but it has long tassels and I just love the look of this. I used James C. Brett Marble Chunky in the color MC38 and I think this is looking gorgeous. And you know what? It's such fun to wear. I have made this so obviously it fits me. So keep this in mind when I am telling you how many rows to do, because you might have to do less rows or more rows. I used 2 balls of Marble Chunky and I used my 5.5 hook. So to get started on our project, we're going to make a slip knot. Make your slip knot any way you normally make it. Insert your hook. And then we're going to start chaining. Now I chained 65 chains for the poncho. So we're just going to get started by chaining some chains, and of course you need to count them. Voila, there we go. Okay, now I'm only going to do a demonstration sample, so you're going to have to imagine that I have done 65 chains, and also of course use stitch markers to help you count. Now when you get to the end of your 65 chains, you're going to do a turning chain, so you do 1 extra chain. This chain doesn't count and we do it at the start of every row. Okay, so you sort of turn, or you get ready to start going back onto your chain. So in this project we will be doing half double crochets. So skipping the turning chain that we just did, you yarn over and you go into your 65th chain, and I always make sure I have 1 strand there, 2 strands at the back of my hook. I pick up my working yarn, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through the 3 loops on your hook. Then you're going to yarn over, go into the next stitch, and you're going to pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through the 3 loops on your hook. And this is how you're going to continue all along your chain, all 65 stitches, of course. So work your way all the way to your last chain, and if you just want to make sure, count your stitches again so you know you have the amount that you should have. Okay, so your first row should be about 60 centimeters long, or about 24 inches. So we're going to start again with a chain 1, you turn your work, and then you're going to start doing your half double crochets again, but this time we're going to place them in the back loop only. So this here is the V of the stitches, and there's a back loop and a front loop. So we're going to be picking up the back loop, this one here. Okay, so you yarn over, you tilt your work towards you, and you pick up the strand at the back, starting in the first stitch where your turning chain is coming out of. You pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through the 3 loops on your hook. And this is how you're going to continue all along your row. Now you will see you can actually pull this up and it will make holes, so don't pull it too much. Okay, be gentle. And I tend to, if you can see, look, my thumb goes onto it just to hold it all down a bit while I pull through my loops. Voila. See, if I don't do it, then it tends to open up a lot more than if I do hold on to the stitch a little bit. Okay, it just makes that your half double crochet is better formed and is taller than if you really pull it tight. Look, you can see the difference still. This is the one where I didn't hold on to it. Okay. Now, when you get to the end of the row, you could do a half double crochet in that last back loop there as usual. But this is the end of the row. And can you see that hole there? That will be there all the time. It will be there in our poncho, and I don't like that look. So what I do for the last stitch of the row, I yarn over and I find both the strands. Now in the beginning you'll be like, oh, where are they, where are they? But you will find them a lot easier after a little while, okay? And then I just do my half double crochet, and look, that gives me a completely different look, and it will be much neater and stronger. Now I know that this yarn is flecked. Okay, you've got stitches, you've got the strands, you've got different colors in your strands, and it is not going to be easy to see. This is why I wanted to do this tutorial in this yarn, because normally I choose a different yarn to make it easier for you to see, but I really wanted to show you that you just need to trust yourself and know your stitch anatomy, and that strand is there. Even though it has two colors, it is still that strand, okay? So then you start with doing a chain one, you turn, tilt the work towards you, yarn over, and you go into that very first stitch, picking up that strand. And although maybe it's hard to see, you know it's there, just go and get it. There we go. So tilt the work each time so that, let me show you properly, so that you're looking from above onto your V here, and you're picking up the V. I mean, half the time I don't see the V, but I know it is there. It's confusing. It's almost like camouflage, okay, because of the colors in the thread. So just trust the process. Go into the stitch where you know you need to go to pick up that back loop, and it will be there. And then here, my last stitch, I'm going to pick up both the strands and do my half double crochet. There we go. So now you're going to repeat this on your large piece, of course, until you have 70 rows. Now, how do we count them? The easiest way to count them is this way here. So this is the chain, that's 1 and 2. 1, 2. Okay, so each time I have this ridge, that's 2 rows. So 2, 4. So throughout my poncho I did 70 rows. Then I tried on my panel by holding it around my shoulders, and it fitted nice and snugly. So make sure your panel fits your shoulders or the recipient's shoulders by doing less or more rows. So make sure you use stitch markers to indicate the last and the first stitch of the row, maybe, if you have a tendency to lose stitches. I will see you now when you have done 70 rows. I'm just finishing my last few stitches here of the 70th row on my panel. So the width here is 60 centimeters, and now I have worked my rows until I have 95 centimeters. So my panel is now 60 centimeters or 24 inches by 95 centimeters or 38 inches. My panel now weighs 300 grams, and that means I have used 1.5 balls for it. I used 70 grams for my tassels, so the other half ball will be plenty. we are now going to turn this piece of fabric into a tube. So you're going to fold it double like this. So you bring your starting chain towards the row that you've just done. So row 1 here with your chain, and then here row 70, and we're going to crochet them together. So you're going to put your hook back in, chain 1 as your turning chain, then we turn our work, and of course we now have the start here as well, and we're going to go into the back loop of this stitch on this side of the panel, and we're going to go and find, yeah, it's hard to see, do your best to just find that leftover strand of that chain there. And this is my end here that's hanging out. So I'm going to be finishing on the other side. So into there, I'm going to pull through the working yarn and then pull it through the loop on your hook. And then of course you're going to try and find the next 2 strands to do the same. So we're doing an inner loop slip stitch. Make sure you don't do the slip stitch too tight so that things are still lying flat here. And of course make sure you always use the next stitch. You pick up the inner loop, so the back loop for this one, and then here of course that leftover loop, there we go, of the next stitch, and then you do that slip stitch. So this will take a little bit of time because you need to just find those strands, but it's worth it of course for a nice finish of our work. And by doing a slip stitch we will have a join, but it won't be sort of too standing up too much. It will be just quite flat and it will blend in to the design that we already have. And this is what it will look like on the other side. So this again will blend in and you won't see that that's where our join is. So I will continue like this all the way to the end of the row. So I've made it to the end of my row here, and I think I still have 1 stitch to do here. So I'm trying to find the outermost strands here, and that's where I'm going to do my last little slip stitch. There we go. Okay, so now let's cut off the yarn and sew in those ends, and then we will be making the tassels. The rest of the ball that you now have left over will be dedicated to tassels. So if you start measuring and start cutting them, then you can sort of stop periodically and see where this gets you. So yeah, so these are 3 strands of 80 centimeters or 32 inches. So you take your strands, make sure the ends are at the same level, have the middle there, take your hook, coming from underneath, so always going up with your hook. If you decide to do it like this, then you always do it like that. Okay, make sure that all the tassels are put on in the same way so that they all have their front facing this way. If you do it the other way around and they're all facing like that, that's fine, but just make sure they all look the same on one side. Okay, so here let's find a strand. Look, this is just 1 strand, that's not enough. Okay, so come back out, go deeper into the fabric, and yes, this is a much better location. I now have at least 3 or 4 strands. Okay, so that's better. Then you're going to put your strands onto your hook, pull them through this location, bring out the loop so it's big enough for you to put your fingers in, then take the strands and pull them through the loop. And then carefully adjust the tassel. There we go. And this is how I'm going to continue all along my poncho. I made this tassel poncho in a chunky yarn. It's Jamesy Bread Marble Chunky. We have lots of the colors of the range in our web shop, so do go and have a look and see if you fancy any of these colors. With just 2 balls needed, I think this is a really lovely and quick fun project to make, and it's even more fun to wear. The tassels are really lovely, and like I said, it's a statement piece. Pair it with a dress or even jeans and a simple turtleneck and you will look stunning. It would also make a lovely gift, which is a bit different from anything else we've done before on this channel. So I really hope you will make this. Thank you very much for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!